It's Marilyn Devonish here from transformationstm.com, and we have another world first. Well, I have another world first for you. If you would like to join us, and this is going to be fantastic for anyone who finds themselves, you may be a parent, you find yourself in the position where you've been homeschooling, you now face the prospect of trying to, as Boris Johnson keeps talking about, catch up during the summer. So it will be absolutely fantastic for that. And I'll just share with you a bit about how the younger students have found it. If you are an employee, manager, entrepreneur, business owner, who you kind of feel like you need to get your head back in the game as we come out of lockdown and into what people are calling the new normal, then this is amazing for you also. And I'm going to be utilizing the platform that you're watching me on now, if you're watching this as a live stream, because it's going live on Facebook, and I'm going to be doing a watch party. Now, this is a very different kind of watch party. Let me show you. So I'm going to be doing a photo reading watch party. So what that is, it means that I will upload day one of the photo reading video webinar workshop. So it's a part of the 3-day certification program, and we'll do it as a watch party, which means you can be in your respective homes around the world watching in real time. And the thing about a watch party is you can all be in the chat talking, which means as you're going through the training, you can be actually putting your questions in, and I'll be answering you and giving you some coaching in real time via the Facebook chat. So I'm going to do this as an experiment for day one. And for those of you who actually booked to attend a photo reading workshop this year, which obviously didn't happen in real time because of the kind of COVID-19 pandemic, coronavirus lockdown. So it's going to be your opportunity. I know, and I know there have been some of you who are going through it, and I won't name you in case you don't want to be named, but there's someone in particular who's been sending me regular updates with their progress, what they've been doing, the books they've been photo reading, the aha moments and the light bulb moments they've been getting. So they've taken the initiative to do that themselves, and they've been sending me regular emails, which has been absolutely fantastic. And so it will be a way, if you've signed up for the training, you've got the online version already, which you've been working your way through at your own pace, but this will be a chance to get your questions answered in real time, and also to review that training again with me there, sort of pointing out various things and adding some nuances. So that's the kind of first tier. And for those of you who have signed up to attend the workshop this year, 2020, but you haven't been able to attend, it's free of charge for you. Also, if you have previously either attended one of my photo reading workshops, or you've purchased the online 3-day certification training, or if we're going back a good 10 years, you've purchased the 1-day video DVD version, then there's just a nominal fee for you to pay. So it's a different price if you've actually attended the full 3-day certification. It's £25. A different price again if you've had the DVD that was a 1-day DVD that I published about 10 years ago. And then there's also a launch price for people who have not ever attended a photo reading workshop, and you may want to do this as a 1-day intro. So if you're watching this in real time, as in right now we're going live, the launch price for the next couple of days is £75. If you wanted to just go straight out, buy the 1-day intro for yourself, that's £197. So that's already available, and there's a link to that on the page that you can see. So if you'd like to book, you can go to www.bit.ly/PR, as in photo reading, PR watch party. So that's on the screen now if you're watching in real time. In terms of what you can expect from this particular training, because the video I'm going to be using is the video that I filmed live probably about 3, coming up to 4 years ago now. Let me just show you the feedback from people who were there on what you're going to be watching. So that was a world first, because it was the first time in almost the 30-year history of photo reading that anyone had taught the class via live video webinar. I was the first person in the world to do that, so that's very cool. And the feedback, because the thing was, is this going to work? I'm like, I totally knew it was going to work, otherwise I wouldn't have done it. But that's what people were wondering. So this is from someone who was there during that video webinar training. So they were wherever they were in the world. I was sat right where I'm sitting now. And they said engaging, creative, intensive, inspiring. We had someone else who was there on what you're going to be seeing, and they said, good. Flexibility of participating from home and my chosen location, especially as the days have been full, because you sometimes need a lie down after that, but you guys who've worked with me already, you know that. Combination of comprehensive, intense and fun delivery, because I know many people now have suffered, you know, what we used to call death by PowerPoint. We now have it in Zoom format, and people sometimes think, oh my goodness, that's a long time. It's a completely different proposition and a completely different way of teaching. Someone else said, wow, this is a simple yet incredibly powerful and liberating skill to have that transforms and skyrockets the ability to absorb and recall information when needed. So these are people who took part on the same webinar that we're going to be doing as a watch party. That's to give you a sense of how they experienced it. Also, because people will say, oh my gosh, that's a long time. The watch party, in terms of the timing, and I've got it here. So this is, you know, in terms of what you can expect. What I've done is I've put a blog together where I've outlined the questions and, you know, how long it is, the links where you can book, etc., etc. So that's all available on my blog. So you can go and have a read of that if you wanted to. And one of the things that that really made me smile after I had completed the webinar is that people were saying they feel relaxed, they feel energized. And this was after 3 consecutive days. We did probably about 22.5 hours in 3 consecutive days. We did Friday, Saturday, Sunday. At the end of that time, people were saying they felt relaxed and they felt energized. If any of you have ever sat through a 2 or 3 or 4 hour Zoom, you will know that is not how people normally leave those calls. They're like, ugh. So, and even if they just done a 1 hour Zoom, sometimes people can feel it. Actually, let me just see if I've got it for you there. Let me just, if I can find it in real time. Ooh. Where did I put that? I'm just going to see if I can find it just to show you. I wonder if that's the one. Don't know if that's the one I'm looking for. I'll just have a quick look-see and just see if it's the one that I'm thinking it is. Just going to put it up there. Not quite, but this is, I'll probably maybe drop a link. I'd actually maybe add a link to the blog. That would be the place to do it. But, you know, we filmed it live. People are in their respective locations. So just to give you a flavor of what you can expect with the photo reading. For those of you who are homeschooling, this was from one of the 11-year-old photo reading workshop attendees. It's a much longer quote, but this is just the soundbite. But she says, Marilyn, you've helped me so much being a better person and feeling better about myself, because the level of confidence and self-belief that people get as a result of this is astounding. And when I say it's life-changing and it's a game-changing, when you have your children leaving the room feeling better about themselves, having more confidence, having more self-belief, doing things that they didn't think they were capable of doing, and all in just a matter of hours, that is absolutely amazing. The youngest attendee I've had on a workshop was 7 years old. And some of you know the lovely Eve, and you might even know her mum, Elizabeth Mansfield, here on Facebook. But she was absolutely incredible, and she blew the minds of all of the adults on the workshop. One of the adults was actually a little bit upset that there were children on the workshop. That was on the Friday. By the Sunday, Eve was her new hero. So it is incredible for children and teenagers, etc. If you're at the other end of the scale, this was someone who at the time, I would say they were 50 something. She had said, she's an author, lovely lady, lives out in Ireland. She says, you've opened up so many possibilities for me and inspired me to expand my life and knowledge. I don't feel as old as I did when I came. Thank you. So whether you're at the child end of the scale and you want your mind opened and you want a sense of possibility and you want to tap into your skills and capabilities and what you are truly capable of and so much more, it's fantastic for that. And also, if you've been around the block a few times as well, it's a game changer for that. In terms of those of you who are entrepreneurs, some of you might know the wonderful Naomi Tamayama, single mum, entrepreneur, business owner. What she said, and this was way after she'd actually attended the photo reading workshop, she just happened to put it on my Facebook photo reading page. She said, I spent less than an hour reading 8 books on a topic, and have just compiled a piece of work from this. Hashtag game changer, hashtag real life skills. So that was after attending the workshop. She's out in the world doing her thing. I'm nowhere now to be seen. And those are the kind of things that are happening. Imagine you've got a project to work on. You're doing some research for something. You work in an industry where you've had 3 or 4 months out of the game, if you're watching this in real time, in terms of lockdown, COVID-19 and the coronavirus. Imagine being able to get through 8 books in an hour and actually create something from that. So when I say it's a game changer and I say it's life changing, I do not use those words lightly. So that's if for those of you who are business owners, for example. This one always makes me smile. Ignore the 20% off. That was a previous promo. But this one always makes me smile. This is a guy who worked in IT and technology. So he attended my photo reading workshop just thinking he'd just learned to read faster. So I'm collecting in all of the feedback forms, and he hands it and he says, the best personal development training I have ever attended, hands down, and then just turned around and walked back to his desk, which is one of my favorite quotes to this day, because people don't actually expect it to be personal development. They think it's all about just the reading and the reading faster. And I mean, that for me is just the beginning. That's just like the bare bones of it. It's everything else that you get, all of the kind of things and the bonuses that just take it into a completely different realm and a completely different space. So that's a little bit about what to expect. And also, because a few people were asking, will this include the HUNA? It actually does. There is in the recording. So this is from, and some of you might know Sukhi Wahiwala. This is from his lovely wife, Parvinder. And this was what she said in terms of her feedback. So she's at the photo reading workshop, and she says, talk about grabbing the bull by the horns. When you did the HUNA healing on me, oh my God, I couldn't believe how accurate your diagnosis was. You didn't tell me you're a doctor as well as everything else. So what Parvinder was talking about at the end of the first day, which is what we're going to be using for the watch party, I do a HUNA and Access Consciousness belief change session. Now, it's optional. In the 10 or so years I've been running it, I've had, I think, 4 people who decided not to stay because they didn't really think it was for them. 100%. Every single one of those people came in the next day. They noticed how different everyone are in terms of relaxed, calm. It's easier. They're more in flow. They're getting it. Many of their little foibles and insecurities have disappeared. They're feeling more confident. They're feeling more self-assured. Every single time, the person who didn't stay has said, oh, I wish I stayed now. Have you got time to do it again? My answer to that is no, because as you will know, if you've attended the workshop, it's jam-packed. I haven't got time to be going back and repeating myself and redoing the whole session. But for people who have stayed for the HUNA session and done it, it is always completely profound, and often, well, pretty much always goes way beyond reading and touches on things, as Parvinder was talking about here, they've got nothing to do with reading, but are to do with your life. And so that session is included in the watch party. And because I'm going to have to set up a private group for it, I may also just do a live, a Facebook live version of it for you as well. So what I will do with that, and now as I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, well, that's a good idea. So I've just decided what I will do with that when we do it as a Facebook live. Is you can tell me the beliefs that you want to work on. What are the things that are stopping and blocking and holding you back? And then in the same way that I do it for my live workshops and for the webinars, what I'll do is I'll construct the Access Consciousness statements out of what you've said. And then I will come up with the HUNA protocol based on what you want to clear. So you'll get a personal version of that as well, included in what I've just said in terms of the price. So yes, we are going to do the HUNA. So that's that. In terms of myself as a trainer, this is one from a few years ago. Every year we have to submit written reports and feedback from our photo reading workshop attendees. For the first 4 years that I was submitting those reports, don't ask me why I was doing it. I was actually, to say dumbing them down, it isn't quite the right term, but I would read all the feedback and go, oh my gosh, that's amazing, that's amazing, that's amazing. And then I would choose the least amazing of the pieces of feedback overall, because if I sent what people had said, I thought it felt as though I was sort of making it up to make myself sound better. Don't do that anymore, of course. They just get everything. But that's what I was doing for the first. And even with doing that, this is what Lynette Ayres, who is the global master trainer. So when I did my photo reading instructor training back in March 2002, Lynette, bar, I'd say a handful of people, half a dozen or so, Lynette had trained every single photo reading instructor in the entire world, from Australia, Europe, Japan, America, Canada, doesn't matter where you were, she would fly to your country, and that's how you do the final assessment. So this is an email that Lynette had sent to me in terms of reading one of my kind of watered down, dumbed down reports. She says, "Wow, Marilyn, I think you should laminate your report and hang it on your wall, exclamation mark. What incredible comments, exclamation mark. And they don't surprise me one bit. You are," oh, I've got goosebumps, "you are and always have been a totally present instructor. You create such a fantastic environment and have such high energy. How can your participants not learn?" And that was from Lynette Ayres, the photo reading master trainer. And that was probably from about, I don't know, what are we now? So we're now, gosh, we really 18 years into this journey? We are. So she probably wrote this about 14, 15 years ago. I would say my energy is still high. And I, of course, know a lot more about photo reading than I did when this was written. But even back then, I was good. So if you would like to join us, if you want to sign up for the watch party, there are 3 different options that you'll find on this page. bit.ly, www.bit.ly/PR watch party. Option 1, if you've purchased the photo reading workshop, you can just drop me an email, but of course I know who you are as well, but it's going to be handy if you actually want to take part, because not everybody's going to want to do it. So it's free. You don't need to pay or do anything like that. If you are a previous photo reading attendee, in terms of you've attended one of my photo reading workshops, or you've taken the 3-day photo reading certification class, it's currently £25 if you want to join us. There's an option if you purchase the 1-day video DVD that I filmed probably about 10 years ago. And then there's a price if you've never attended the photo reading workshop and you'd like to do. This is for the day 1 intro we're talking about. So the running time of this is about 4.5 hours, and breaks are already scheduled into the recording because I filmed it live in real time. So it's 4.5 hours. So if you've never attended a photo reading workshop, the launch price, if you're watching this now in real time or for a day or so after this, it's £75 to take part. And then what I'm going to do is I'll create a private Facebook group. That's where all of this will take place, and that's where I'll then upload the watch party. We'll schedule a date so that you are all free, because the idea is I want you to be able to put your questions in real time, and I will be here where I am now, answering your questions in real time and providing you with some coaching, etc. So that is the proposition for the watch party. If you would like to join me, that will be absolutely fantastic, amazing, fabuloso. If you have any questions, queries outside of anything I've been talking about here. Oh, actually, this is one from, some of you might know, Erica Brodnick. I'll have to put a name on this, actually. But in terms of it does what it says on the tin, this was from Erica, who attended the photo reading workshop. And basically, she said, I learned everything I was told. It was perfect. So it really does what it says on the tin. Also, for those of you who are studying, what I might do is drop this one on the blog as well. This was from somebody who was doing her ACCA exams, her accountancy exams, really struggling. It was taking her a month just to get through a textbook, just to try and do the reading. After the photo reading workshop, I know it's really small text on this, I'm having to lean in a bit, but after the photo reading workshop, she went from a month or 2 just to wade through some books. She's doing it, I think when she first did it, she had it down to, I'm just having a quick read. Yeah, oh, that's it. So yeah, she was saying, just put it in her own words, she was saying, comparing my previous experience, it would take just over a month to go through each book, and then another month for the practice exercises. She says, this time I managed to photo read and activate the first book in a week, bracket 18 hours. To go from 2 months to 18 hours, including your note take. And if you can see what it says here on the screen, if your screen's big enough, she's actually apologizing because it's still taking, 18. I'm like, you know what? To go from 2 months to 18 hours, and that was just the beginning. This was just after she'd done the photo reading workshop. And what was really lovely, about a year ago, she sent me a message, a connection request on LinkedIn, and it said Maureen Russell ACCA, and I'm like, oh my life, she's done it. So I messaged her back. Of course, I accepted the request. Messaged her back and says, you're an ACCA, congratulations, well done. She messaged me back and says, Marilyn, thank you so much for the photo reading. I still recommend photo reading to new students, undergraduates, because it, and I've had parents send me text messages years later. One of them, I remember, I was sat at my desk, a lovely lady called, her son was Alexander. You might have seen his video on my YouTube channel, where everything that he set and intended for himself on the photo reading workshop actually happened. So I get a message from his mum, Jo, probably 2-3 years after he'd attended the photo reading workshop, saying, hi, Marilyn, just wanted to say thank you so much for all of your help. And I look at the text message, and I sat where I'm sat now at a different desk, but I was sat in the same place. And I'm looking at the text message thinking, I've not spoken to Jo for years. What is she thanking me for? So, of course, I then messaged her back, say, hey, Jo, glad to be of assistance. And what did I do? And she said, Alexander has just got his exam results. He got into his first choice of university. And I don't think we could have done it without you and the photo reading. I just wanted to say thank you. And she relayed something that gave me goosebumps. I've got goosebumps again. I don't know if you can actually see that on camera. And I went, I've heard those words before. So I then went back to my YouTube channel. I found the video of what Alexander had said on the Sunday at the end of the photo reading workshop. And I sent her the link and I said, Jo, listen to that, because the words he spoke on that video were basically the words that she had put into the text, really not making the connection between the two. And some of you will already know some of these wonderful stories where people have stood in that photo reading room, they've made the declaration in terms of the speaker into existence, and the things that they have said out loud have come true, word for word. Some of you might know Caroline Chappell, for example, the sketchnote artist. And she stood in that room, said out loud for the first time, she was working in a regular office job. She said out loud for the first time, I'd love to give up my day job and travel the world as a sketchnote artist. Of course, she's had to take a bit of a hiatus during COVID, but I looked at her page 2 weeks ago, because she said that about 5 or 6 years ago. I looked at her page 2 weeks ago. She's still doing the sketchnoting remotely. So she's still being called into people's meetings. Go to her page, Caroline Chappell, CHAPPPLE. It's like Apple with a CH on the beginning. Within, I think it was probably 3 or 4 months, she'd reduced her hours in her day job. Within the year, she was traveling the world as a sketchnote artist, has not looked back. And she said those words for the first time out loud to a group of people who were her new learning collaborators, said it out loud for the first time. Within the year, that's it. And her life has been that since that day. And she did a lovely video as well, which is on my YouTube channel. My YouTube is just / Marilyn Devonish. And just type in Caroline Chappell photo reading. I guess it should throw it up for you. So, we've had some really incredible things happen over the years. And if you've got any questions, if you've got any queries, this is how you can find me. My email is marilyn@transformationstm.com. Marilyn is MARILYN @trans, TRANCE, F for Freddie, so FORMATIONS, TM as in trademark.com. So Marilyn@transformationstm.com. Main website is www.transformationstm.com/photo reading. And that's the word photo and reading together, all one word. And then you'll find all of the background information about photo reading. I have also put it on the bit.ly site as well. There's a button that says photo reading website. What I've also added to the bit.ly page for you to book and join the watch party is I put a link to one of the blogs I've written. I've written loads of blogs, of course, about photo reading, but one of them, because people always say, well, does it work and does it last and da 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 da. So what I did is I went back to some of my previous photo readers, and I also collected some of their feedback that they have spontaneously shared themselves over the years. I mean, there was some of you know the wonderful Deirdre Barr. she was studying when she did the photo reading workshop. Then she went on to study her MSc. And I think it was 2 or 3 years after the photo reading workshop, which was really uncanny because I had shared a memory that day. Deirdre hadn't yet seen it. She then wrote a completely different post about photo reading, saying how much the skill was still helping her with her professional studies years after attending the photo reading training. So what I did is I went back and put a compendium of those case studies together. So if you want to see how photo reading has worked for people years after attending the training, there's a link to that on the bit.ly page as well. But that's how you can get hold of me. And the blog is marilyndevonish.com. And Devonish is Devonish. So marilyndevonish.com. And pretty much all of my social media is /Marilyn Devonish, except for Instagram, which is the NeuroSuccess Coach. So that's if you've got any further questions. That's if you've got any kind of queries. If you wanted to purchase the full 3-day certification class rather than doing the kind of watch party, there's a link to it on the main website. There's also the kind of transformation Zenler page. And pretty much that will give you instant on-demand access to all of my online workshops. But the 3-day video certification is on that page as well. So you can do that. One of the questions I also had while we're on the subject, if you've previously purchased gift vouchers, and I did a deal on the gift vouchers, during lockdown, which was rather than them being £150, which is hourly rate for a session, they were £90. So if you have purchased a gift voucher, it doesn't matter what you paid for it. Even if you paid for it with the lockdown coronavirus price of 90, it's still worth an hour and it's still worth £150. So if you wanted to, you can put a gift voucher towards this, and you will have a little bit left over. So I'll make the adjustment for that as well, because if you're booking at the moment, the prices are different. As I said, if you wanted to purchase the 1-day version of what we're going to be doing in the watch party, that's £197, and you can find that on the Zenler page. But if you have purchased gift vouchers, because I've suggested people just buy them and use them as and when, and you can put them towards live workshops, coaching sessions, online events, then yes, you can use a gift voucher. So just to answer that one as well. Right, I think I have answered all of the questions in terms of I'm just looking to check and see if there's anything else. Yeah, that's always a fun one in terms of Huna. If you don't know anything about Huna, I do explain a bit about it on the video webinar. And what I will do, because we'll do a Facebook Live as well, I'll give you a little bit more of a rundown about what it is, how it works. But yes, it does work with groups. Yes, it does work remotely. And yes, it always blows people's minds. So that's just what you can see on the screen now, is me on stage. That's Greg Braden, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton. And what you can see is some of the feedback that I had from people when I did just literally 5 minutes of Huna at the TCCHE event, the Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution, which is a big annual event in London. There are about 550 people in the audience. So, and if you can read it on the screen, again, sorry, it's a bit small print. But one of them says, thank you so much for, the Huna. And seriously, it was what blew my mind personally was people didn't know what I was doing. They had no idea what Huna was, because it was literally, I just on the stage, bang, let's do this thing, because I need to introduce Lynn McTaggart, who was coming up next. But there was a situation that had happened, and they said it'd be really great to start with some kind of healing or energy or meditation. So that's how it came about the first time. People had no idea what I was doing, but they were describing the order and sequence in which I did the sessions, in which I did the symbols. So, opened with, let's say, a water symbol. People go, oh, I felt like I was in a waterfall when you started. Then I move on to the fire symbol, which they would have had no idea about. People said, yeah, then I really felt this intense heat. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And the one there's one of comments here where it says, I did speak to you at the event, brackets in the ladies, because I could not walk 2 steps for the next 4 days without somebody stopping me and going, oh my God, I don't know what you were doing on stage, but when you did it, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. So this was somebody saying, I spoke to you in the ladies and explained how I felt the energy around me and the sense of calm. But since that time, I'm quite amazed at what has happened, because she then emailed me several weeks after the event, because as you guys, well, if you follow me, you'll know my logo is the ripple effect, and the ripple effect of that kept on going. So, it is fantastic. It is amazing. And if you're wondering, in terms of benefits you can get from an online event, I've just spotted this one here as well. Some of you know the fabulous Rachel CK. And I got a wonderful message for her. She wasn't doing the photo reading. She had taken part in my Fearless Public Speaking 1-day online video webinar workshop. And I was on holiday in January this year. Thank goodness got holiday in before lockdown. In Gran Canaria. I'm on the sunbed by the pool. I've just been served a mocktail and a cocktail, and I noticed a message from Rachel, and I was like, oh, okay. And then she said, I've just spent the day with you. It's been lovely. So I'm looking around going, did Rachel and her family just fly into Gran Canaria and they're at the same resort that we're at? So I went, what do you mean? And then she said, I've just been going through your online workshop. The results that she had were absolutely phenomenal. This is going to be too small for you to read, but it is up on the Zenler website page. And she was writing about the one, how the talk went. It was fantastic. And she was saying to people, for those of you who, asked me about how I prepared, get in touch with Marilyn Devonish. And what's even more incredible is she has just a week ago invited me to be a guest on her radio show. She's just been given a new radio show. So to go from, oh, I don't really like public speaking, to this is absolutely amazing. And all of that was an online course. I wasn't there. Rachel was in her own home. I'm in Gran Canaria around the pool. So in answer to the question, does the online training work? Yes, it does. So if you've got any questions, if you've got any queries, then you can drop them into the conversation thread, the chat thread, if you're watching this on Facebook. I will upload this to YouTube, so you know the score. Put it in the comments below the video. And for those of you who are on my e-newsletter list, what I'll do is I'll email you the link so you have them all to hand if you wanted to take part. You should know what category you're in, because you probably will know if you've attended a photo reading workshop or if you've made a purchase. So that should be clear. But just to be double clear, if you've booked to attend the photo reading workshop this year, as in you are planning to join me in March 2020, that happened, just in the middle of lockdown, or you've pre-booked to attend in September, October, November this year, it's free of charge, because what I really want to do is kind of help you get moving and help you get started and answer some of your questions. So cool. Thank you so much for watching. And if you know anyone who could benefit from this training, so if you know parents who are struggling with kind of homeschooling and self-lockdown and are not quite sure what to do to really catch up, and not just catch up, leapfrog ahead of the game, then do get in touch. Also, if you yourself kind of feeling that you want to sharpen up your mindset in your brain, etc., because it really is one of the reasons why people feel energized after the training and they're relaxed and they're calm, but also buzzing, is because it's about whole brain, whole mind learning. So we're using the brain in a completely different way. We are utilizing your learning styles. We're utilizing the multiple intelligences. And that's why people have such a deep and rich experience. And one of the reasons why they're not tired. And the whole thing in terms of your brain power, your capacity, your creativity, all of that is next leveled and pretty much goes through the roof. And the way I describe photo reading, this is one of my I've got loads of props. Those of you who've been to workshops, you'll know. This is a whole kind of brochure book, but it's condensed down into this tiny little square. And the premise of photo reading is how to photo read an entire book from start to finish in about 5 minutes, and it's photo reading at 25,000 words per minute. Just to put that into context, many people read between 300 and 500 words a minute. So 300 and 500 versus 25,000 words a minute is a whole different proposition. So photo reading is pretty much like shrinking down that process, which is how Naomi was able to get through 8 books in 1 hour, and how my client can go from 2 months to 18 hours with photo reading everything, doing the activation, doing the notes, etc., etc. So it's really about using your mind and using your brain in a completely different way and waking it up. And as I'm always saying, tapping into your limitless potential. So I'm a massive fan of that Bradley Cooper film. And one of the reasons I'm also a massive fan is I had someone who was a doctor and trainee neurosurgeon at the time. And he attended and said, have you seen the movie Limitless? And I hadn't actually watched it at the time. If you've never seen it, it's in the DVD case next door. But it's Bradley Cooper, Robert De Niro. If you've never seen it, I was going to show you the cover. And he said, have you seen the movie Limitless? I was like, no, heard of it, not watched it. And he said, everything you're teaching here is in the movie. The only difference is we don't need a silver pill, so we don't need to put ourselves in danger. And the only thing you're not doing is time shifting. He then came back on the Sunday and says, I take it back, I've changed my mind. I was like, what's that? He said, we are time shifting, because I can't believe how much we've done, how much we've learned, how much we've covered in such a short space of time. So when I talk about tapping into your limitless potential, again, I don't use those words lightly. I use them because that's the experience that people have. It's like living in a whole different universe. So I look forward to working with those of you who are going to be joining me for the watch party. I think it's going to be huge amounts of fun. Really excited. Can't wait. And if you're watching this outside of real time, so the watch party's over, then you can purchase the online 3-day video webinar certification class. It's all on demand, and that's available. Just go to the Main Transformations website. There's a link there which will link you then through to the main page. And what I'll probably do at some point is I'll put the link into the comments and the description of the video as well. And that means you can get started from anywhere in the world, whenever you want, whenever you like, and you have lifetime access to that material if you're purchasing the full 3-day video webinar certification class. Or you can purchase the 1-day watch party video that we're going to be watching, and the 1-day version is £197 if you're not taking part for free, or for 25, 45 or 75, depending on which tier you're in, for the watch party. So it is available outside of here, so you haven't missed it. It just means that I won't be there in real time to answer all of your questions. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. Wishing you all a fabulous rest of your day. I hope that lockdown has been treating you well. And I will see you in the watch party. We'll decide the date. There isn't a date yet, so you don't need to message me going, what date is it? Once you've booked, once everyone has booked, so I give everyone a couple of days, I will then message you all. We'll decide on the date, because I want it to be live so that I can be answering your questions in real time. So that's the one thing. There isn't a date as yet, because I know somebody's going to watch this and go, what's the date? No date yet. It will be when we all agree we're free, so that you can watch it live and in real time. Cool. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you for those of you who share this video and tell other people about it. That's always amazing. And if you have attended the PhotoReading workshop and share, it's really useful just to throw in a couple of lines about your experience as well, just so people can get a sense of how you've benefited from it. That's always amazing. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. And I really, really, really look forward to working with you all in the Facebook watch party. Catch you later. Bye-bye.